We're talking about free stuff again. When are we going to stop talking about government subsidies? Good question, imaginary student. Never. Some people like to envision and discuss government in terms of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Liberty, freedoms, protecting rights. The reality is, government revolves around the pursuit of happiness, which we define today as free stuff, government subsidies. What can the government do for me? What can they do for the selfish voter? The gimme, gimme, gimme. What kind of stuff will you give me if I vote for you? All right, let's imagine a free market. Nature, the wild kingdom. There is no government intervention. Only the strong survive. Now, if we envision that free market in terms of business, you have strong firms or businesses and weak firms in the purple. You, the consumer, decide which will survive, and you decide based on who builds and provides the high quality products at the best prices. You use your money almost in a form of voting in the free market to determine the winners and the losers. And the winners win because they work hard. They continuously improve and innovate and build better products and fill the economy with strong firms and strong products that can dominate the world. And the weak firms fail to compete. They die. The dead cells are cleared away, and the body is only strong. The nation is filled only with strong, solid firms. There is no government intervention to help out the weak cells, the weak firms. If they can't compete, then their products weren't good. We don't need them. We only need the best. And through time, we end up with an economy that's strong, that's vibrant, that's filled with innovative, successful businesses that provide you, the consumer, with the goods that you need, and the economy with the jobs that we need, and allow our nation to compete with other nations globally. It's a beautiful thing, and it happens when the government steps away and allows the market to be free or independent from government intervention. And that's how we develop new technologies like microchips that make our lives better. Let's frame this in another way. Look at the NBA. There is no government intervention in the NBA. We let the ballers ball. So we imagine the strong firms as MJ, Michael Jordan. This is a strong firm, a business that's successful, a player that's successful, and the weak firms, Philip Seymour Hoffman, who seems to be not even bricking, just straight hitting the backboard. Good players, bad players, good firms, bad firms, no government intervention. In the top, the strong firms, without good intervention, go on to the NBA. And without government intervention, this guy's balling in the backyard, never gets on TV. And when you turn on the TV, or when you go to the economy, you get to experience the best firms, the best businesses, the best products. You turn on the TV, you can see the best NBA. Now, what if the government intervened? What if this wasn't a free market? The government felt bad for the have-nots, felt things weren't equal. We need equity. We need a more fair, balanced society. We can't just have all Michael Jordans playing basketball. Everyone deserves not just an opportunity, but an equal outcome. So these bad firms, bad cells of the body are propped up, allowed to exist. One of the ways you could do that, it's very simple. Just rewrite the rules. All right, you cannot guard people within 6 feet. You know where I got that graphic, don't you? Allow the players to compete. Change the rules. Intervene. Government intervention. This is no longer a free market. Independent of government intervention. We have changed the rules to make it more equitable. We institute some DEI policies. We want equal outcomes. Great, we do. Now, Philip Seymour Hoffman gets to play in the NBA. We, through government intervention and DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, have evened the playing field. And that's great for Philip Seymour Hoffman. And it's probably still fine for MJ. But the overall product, he's in the NBA now, suffers. Do you want to watch this? Is this something that you want to experience? This is going to be fun to watch. Hey, it's great for the players. They all get to play. It hasn't really hurt them. We're giving more opportunities, providing an equal outcome. But now we have a terrible product. Imagine if we did that in the economy. We allow poor performing, inefficient firms or institutions, government institutions, to exist through government intervention involving. Well, the overall economy is going to suffer. Will we get microchips? Will we produce advanced goods? Will we have a vibrant, thriving economy that can compete against China and other global nations? Very unlikely. This is what you're going to get. You don't want to watch this. This is your economy when the government gets involved. This is your economy. Inefficiency, waste, money that could be spent to improve the economy. Maybe, though, they're still playing basketball. Maybe the economy's still rolling along, but the economy's not doing as good as it can. And while it can still exist and still provide the basic services, it's still NBA, it's still basketball. Maybe some people are still watching. It's okay. People say, well, it's not as good as it used to be. Yeah, because the government got involved. But although it can still hang in there, it's not as good as it can be. And if it's not as good as it can it compete globally against other stronger nations? We don't live in a bubble. We don't live in isolation. We need to be at our best. And when the government gets involved with their policies and interventions, we are not necessarily at our best. And it limits our ability to compete globally. You turn it off, more than likely. Some people will keep on watching. I doubt it. This happens through government intervention. You don't get an economy filled with strong firms. Now, your economy still exists. Our economy today still exists. But we have plenty of waste. We have plenty of dead cells floating around in our economy that are boosted up by the government. And there's no reason for those cells to be there. We could clear them away, take that money, allow it to go back into the economy, and improve the strong cells, improve the strong firms. Let's put it another way. Get another example of intervention and the effects of the government getting involved with subsidies, with bailouts. So you have car insurance, you have to pay a premium every month. If you wreck, Geico will pay to fix your car for that wreck. But moving forward, because you are labeled a dangerous driver, a risky driver, and more likely going to cost them more money in the future, they're going to raise your premiums or your monthly bill. They are running the odds. They run the statistics. That's what insurance companies do. They calculate, okay, what are the probability that this guy's going to wreck again or this lady's going to wreck again? They find out, and then they calculate how much more they need to charge you. That's the way it works. Your monthly payment is based on your risk. If you're risky and they got to pay more, you got to pay more. If you're not very risky and you're a safe driver, then you pay less. You don't get in wrecks, your premiums go down. Very simple. A lot of older people who've been driving for years and years and years without a wreck pay very little in premiums. There is an incentive to drive safely. There is an incentive to improve and to be at your best. They are encouraging you. They are rewarding you to drive safely. And then there's the opposite. There's an incentive not to do stupid stuff. What would happen if we take away these incentives? What if we take it away and we no longer punish people for being poor drivers? What if we say, hey, go after it? What if the government gets involved and starts paying the car insurance for all Americans? Imagine America. No one has to pay car insurance. Kind of like what if the government paid for all of our health insurance? Same thing. You can figure this one out too. But imagine all drivers, hey, you don't have to worry about your car insurance. Cool. And if you get in a bunch of wrecks, your rates aren't going to go up. All right, cool. So if I do too stupid stuff, go out there and do some donuts, go out and peel out of Walmart, run into an old lady, my insurance is going to be paid for, my premiums won't go up. Yeah, that will happen. I was at this race. 2015, Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins the Daytona summer race. Austin Dillon on the last lap, going through the fence, flying. If we take away the punishment and do not incentivize good driving, people are more likely going to do stupid stuff, drive poorly. It's going to be a wreck fest on the highway. You better buckle up. You better put on a helmet when you're driving. Thankfully, the government does not ever consider paying for car insurance. They don't want to subsidize it, no free stuff. Although they do want to do health insurance. Think about how that would work. If you're not rewarded for living healthy, I go to the doctor and I keep using my health insurance and my rates keep going up because I'm living an unhealthy life. It's a good incentive to eat right, to live right. The medical bills, the insurance rates. Well, if the government's going to bail you out for your insurance rates, give me the ding-dongs and the ho-hos and the Twinkies. Let's do it. Let's live it. Let's go. Let's go. Doritos. And we'll have obesity. We'll have all kinds of issues if the government were to subsidize healthcare and you didn't have to worry about your premiums increasing. There's another example. Farmers, though, this is not hypothetical. This is not theoretical. This is reality. The government does not provide car insurance, and they don't provide universal health care yet. But they do provide free, subsidized insurance to farmers. If you're a farmer, you got a bad year, you have a poor harvest, you are subsidized. The government will bail you out. The idea is that farming, agriculture, food production is such a vital part of our economy that we can't afford for farmers to go out of business because of a bad year. If they have a bad year, they lose everything. We lose the farm, we lose the food, America suffers. Thus, the rationale is our government subsidizes most farmers and pays the premiums of their insurance. So in our example of the car, remember when the government was paying your premiums? Whether they went up or down, the government always paid. If you were a bad driver, it didn't matter. They were taking care of you. Well, if you're a bad farmer, they take care of you. This is reality. This is not theoretical. We got bad driving when we subsidized car insurance. We're going to get bad farming when we subsidize farm insurance. Are we getting the best agricultural production in America today? If in theory it doesn't work for cars, then there has to be some sort of impact on our farming today when we bail out every farmer every year with subsidies and free stuff. When farmers go and vote for representatives that make sure that they pass legislation that creates subsidies to farmers, mainly farming insurance, they're voting for a less productive economy, an economy with those purple firms, economy with dead blood cells that haven't been cleared away. Sure, the farms are okay. The agriculture's getting by. But are we doing our best? Are we at our best? Are we going to be able to compete with other nations globally if we are continuing to reward poor behavior, subsidize with free stuff, not the best? What happens eventually over time? Sure, we're getting by now, but are we going in the right direction? Do subsidies lead us down the right direction? This is why we discuss this rather than life, liberty, and property, or life, liberty, and pursuit. Locke and Jefferson are dead. It's 2024. People vote for subsidies. We talk about subsidies. People vote for free stuff. We talk about free stuff. We hammer around the TV, the media, the social media. They're going to preach about rights. But the reality of American government, the substance of American government revolves around public policy in terms of what are you going to do for me? How do you get that money in my pocket?